Today I'm going to share my 5 tethering essentials, and then you'll get to see a shoot with tethering in action. Hey everybody, Lindsay Adler here, and I tether for every single shoot I ever do, whether I'm in the studio or on location. I'm a fashion photographer, I shoot beauty and commercial work, and during those types of shoots, tethering is expected. In fact, it's essential. And this is true for many reasons. Tethering helps me to do things that are basic, like check my focus and exposure. It also allows me to mark images throughout a shoot so I can make sure that we got the shot before I move on to the next look. And before I get too much in depth with this, let's back up and talk about what is tethering. Tethering is the ability to connect your camera to your computer so that as you're shooting, the images are imported in real time. This is so important for me for many different reasons. Of course, I talked about the basics, but it also helps me creatively. As I'm shooting, I can make adjustments to the exposure, change the image to black and white, make tweaks, and then apply that so every image that comes in will have those presets and those changes applied. This is really great because it allows me to see how the light is falling on my subject, how the color is looking. And so instead of envisioning what it may look like in post, I can see it as I'm shooting. This is important for me, but it's also extremely important for my clients. Because tethering is absolutely an essential part of my job, today I'd like to share with you 5 things that I think are essential to the basic, like the fundamental kit for tethering. This is everything from the tool I need to connect the camera to the computer, as well as backup and software. So with that, let's dive right in. The first element of your essential tether kit is, of course, your tether cable. The tether cable is what connects from your camera to your computer. But you're going to have to do a little bit of research first because there are different ports on various cameras and computer combinations. So there are a lot of different configurations. Now, one of the things I like about this cable, specifically it is from TetherTools, is that it has a right angle adapter. What's really nice about this is it takes a little bit of the pressure off of the port on the camera itself, so it's a little bit more secure. Plus, you don't have this cable kind of sticking out of the side, which can be a little bit awkward. So be sure to do your research and get the right cable for the right camera and computer combination. I shoot the Canon EOS R5, and I have a USB-C cable to USB-C on my computer. That leads me to the next essential tool for tethering, which is what you see here on the bottom of my camera. This is called a tether block. A tether block allows you to take the cable, thread it through here, and then it screws directly into the bottom of your camera. The reason this is essential to my tethering kit is because if I wiggle my cable or if I step on it and yank it, it doesn't come disconnected. Furthermore, it doesn't damage the port on the camera itself. So it's your security to the inevitable trip or step on that cable. And just so you're not worried, even if there is a tether block on the bottom of your camera, it still has the ability to mount onto a tripod. The next tool that is essential for tethering is the table to put the computer on. And of course, you could use any old table, but the one that I have here is the TetherTools Aero table, which I like for a variety of reasons. First of all, it has this nice grippy mat on top, which doesn't sound important until you accidentally yank a cable or somehow you hit your computer, and without it, something will slide off. So that's a really nice feature. But what I really like about it is that you can actually attach the table to a stand. And so I can attach it to a tripod stand, to a light stand, or in the case in my studio, on top of a roller stand. So that as I'm moving around my space and shooting, I can bring my tethering table around with me. So far we have the cable that connects the computer and the camera. Then I have the tether block, which holds it in place and protects everything. And then of course I have my Aero table, the place to set my laptop so that it can follow me around the studio. So next up, what do we need? There are 2 more missing elements. I need the software that allows me to bring the images into my computer, and I need a hard drive to back up my files. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the software. Now, there are 2 main programs that most photographers use for tethering. It's usually either Capture One or Lightroom. Now, Lightroom is one of the most popular editing programs out there, and so it's great because many photographers already have it as a tool, and you don't have to buy something extra in order to tether, which is great. However, when it comes to tethering, Lightroom is just much slower than Capture One. Capture One is built for tethering. So if I'm honest, if you go to a commercial shoot, most of the time you're going to see Capture One. And that's because when you take that image, it is much quicker for it to be imported and viewed on your computer. So if you need speed, Capture One is probably the way to go. That being said, both of these programs work and you can process your file in either. Now that the files are on your computer, what is the last step, the last essential element for tethering? And that is the ability to back up your files. And so I am always using an external hard drive in addition to my internal hard drive while I'm tethering. So typically how I work is as the images are coming in, they're backing up to my desktop, and then they're also backing up to an external hard drive. My hard drives are G-Tech hard drives. But I did want to note that recently G-Tech was acquired by SanDisk, and so you may see this line of hard drives now be called SanDisk Pro. When I'm shooting, typically I am going to be tethered to an SSD hard drive. This is a solid state drive. The reason this is important is if for whatever reason that hard drive is damaged or it falls, there are no moving parts, so I'm not worried about losing the data. I make sure that I am backing up to that SSD, and then I back up to another drive later on. You can see on the arrow table here that there's actually an attachment that allows you to store and safely house your hard drive so it's not just sitting on the tabletop, which makes it more susceptible to falling off or getting in the way. Let's put all these elements together. All right, so I've got my camera and I've got my tether cable. The tether cable is held in place by the tether block, and then the tether cable is also plugged into the computer. My computer is sitting on an arrow table, and the software, either Capture One or Lightroom, is what tethers the files and brings them from the camera into the computer. And then lastly, once you have those files on your computers, you should also be backing them up in real time with an external drive, and I recommend a solid state drive. All right, so there you have it. Those are the essential elements for tethering. But notice that I've said essential. There are so many different things you could use for tethering in addition to this. So for example, there are larger cards or external monitors. And by the way, for any of my commercial shoots, I also have an external monitor, which is really helpful so that the client isn't just looking over your shoulder on your laptop. Now that you understand the essentials that you need if you want to take advantage of the benefits of tethering, I invite you to join me as you see a shoot in action using Capture One to bring the files into my computer. All right, so let's bring out the model. I'm all tethered up for this shoot, and the concept is that I want to create something that's really timeless and elegant for my beautiful subject. And I'm thinking that timeless and elegant is going to translate to a black and white photograph. I love to shoot tethered because it gives me the ability not just to see the images as they're coming in so I can check expression and pose, but also so that I can see how the image translates to different processing. And in this instance, it's going to be how it translates to black and white. So let me take a test, see how the image looks, study the lighting, and then I'm going to process it to black and white. So far so good, the light looks nice on her face, but of course this is in color. So let's see if there's enough contrast or sculpting when I convert to black and white. I'm shooting tethered to Capture One, and so I'm going to quickly change it to black and white, and then I can go in and play with contrast, I can play with clarity, and I can adjust the overall exposure of the image as well. Okay. So I think that's looking pretty good. One of the things that I love about tethering as well is, yes, check your focus, check your exposure, but I can also see once I've switched to black and white, maybe I think the image would look better if it were a little bit more dramatic. Maybe now that I've taken the color away, it's screaming to have a little bit more sculpting to the shot. And so what I can do is I can quickly move the light, check if I like it better, compare the two, and then I can make a decision how I want to proceed in the shoot. By the way, here in Capture One, I have applied these settings so that every image that comes into my tether is going to have those same adjustments applied. So every image that comes in is going to appear in black and white the same way that I've converted it. But of course, this is raw, and so at any point I can reset, undo, and set it back to the original file as it came into the computer. So let me change the light a little bit and see what I think. I'm gonna make it a little more dramatic. Okay, and can you face this direction? Okay, so I can compare these two images side by side, see which one is better helping me to achieve the goals of the shoot, and then I can proceed from there. So honestly, I like both of them. So I'll start here, and then I'll move the light around back to the front and give it a little bit more of a flat light appearance. Okay, so let's give this a try. That looks beautiful. Can you pop out your left elbow this way and hide your right one? Beautiful, and then chin up and out. Great, love it. And chin back towards me. Then chin straight down. Cool, and then can you do something where you kind of wrap around yourself, real soft. I hope you enjoyed that peek into my tethering workflow. If you'd like to see the gear that I am using here, be sure to check out the links in the description below and visit adorama.com. And of course, if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and give me some love. See you next time, guys.